I didn't breathe when I heard her voice. The footage was grainy, but clear enough. She stood in the corner of our bedroom, phone pressed to her cheek, whispering in that voice she used when she was trying to sound fragile. "He's worthless. Garbage," she said. "I'm going to say he hit me. Then I'll get the house and everything." I didn't flinch. I just watched, rewound, played it again. This time, I listened deeper, to the cold calculation behind each word. Not rage, not desperation, just strategy, like she'd already rehearsed it in her head a dozen times. I stared at the screen, and my silence. It wasn't weakness. It was the beginning of war. My name is James. I'm 38 years old. I used to be Army, 12 years in recon, 2 tours, overseas. Now I do private security consulting. The job's quieter, but my mind, it never really left the battlefield. I'm a man of systems, routines, morning coffee at 6:30, workout at 7, briefings by 9. I track details like some people track weather. That's what kept me alive, and it's what kept me sane when things started to fall apart at home. She used to make coffee first, used to hum while folding laundry, used to touch my shoulder on her way to the kitchen. But after I came back from my last deployment, all that stopped. I remember the first time she looked at me like I disgusted her. "You're not a man anymore," she said, after I left a light on in the garage by accident. I laughed it off at first, thought it was stress, the adjustment. We all struggle, right? Civilians don't always get it, but it didn't stop. It got worse, the looks, the jabs. Her phone always flipped face down when I walked in, her laughter a little too loud when I wasn't part of the conversation. I felt it before I saw it. I started listening. The camera idea came to me late one night after she'd gone out with friends. Her perfume still hung in the hallway. I sat in the dark watching the front door, and a thought slid through my brain like a knife. If she wanted to destroy me, would I even see it coming? That thought kept me awake until sunrise. By noon, I'd wired the house. Discreet, motion-activated, audio embedded, nothing illegal, nothing obvious, just eyes, ears, backup, insurance. 2 weeks passed. Nothing, until that night. She was on the phone, pacing barefoot, whispering like she was sharing a secret she'd been dying to spill. "I'll tell them he shoved me," she said. "He's got PTSD, it'll be believable." They always believe the woman. She laughed, soft, cruel, the kind of laugh that used to be for me. Then the call ended. She tucked the phone in her robe pocket, stared into the mirror like she was practicing grief. I stared too, from the shadows of the living room. "That's when," Mark called. I didn't answer at first. I was still frozen. Mark's my old squad mate. Retired now, runs a range upstate. Guy can smell lies like smoke. When I finally picked up, I didn't say much. Just, "I've got something to show you." "You sound like you've seen a ghost," he said. "No," I replied. "Just the devil. And she lives in my house. And then there's Carla. Lives across the street. The kind of neighbor who always waters your plants if you're out of town. Or says things like, 'I heard raised voices again last night, everything okay?' Back then I thought she was nosy. Now, I wonder if she knew something I didn't." The next morning, my wife made pancakes, smiled, kissed me on the cheek like we weren't walking on a minefield. I ate in silence, because the game had started, and she had no idea I'd already won the first round. I wasn't always this version of myself. The man watching hidden camera footage like it's a war briefing, planning his own wife's takedown. There was a time I believed in simple things, love, loyalty, trust. But that version of me died quietly, one broken promise at a time. Was raised by a woman who worked 3 jobs and still managed to make pancakes every Sunday. My mom didn't teach with words, she taught with action. Don't complain, get it done. I guess that's where I learned silence. Joined the Army the day I turned 18. Didn't even tell her until I was already at base. 12 years later, I came home with enough discipline to make a monk blush, and a habit of scanning every room, like there might be a sniper in the kitchen. That's when I met her. Samantha came into my life like lightning through dry branches. She was loud, bright, unpredictable. She danced in the middle of the sidewalk when it rained. She asked me if I wanted to go skydiving on our second date. I said no, so she showed me videos until I caved. We landed laughing, mud all over her face, arms in the air like a champion. I'd never seen anyone so alive, and I wanted that light, even if I didn't understand it. We married 6 months later. Too fast. But when you've survived explosions and ambushes, forever starts to feel like a luxury. At first, it felt right. We bought a fixer-upper with peeling paint and good bones, adopted a lazy old retriever we named Samson. She painted the living room bright yellow. I hated it. She didn't care. It worked. Even the fights were passionate, not cruel. But over time, things shifted. I remember her once looking at me across the table and saying, "You're always so boring." I just blinked. I thought stability was what you wanted. She laughed, short and sharp. "I wanted you, not a filing cabinet and boots." The phone came next, not the one she always carried, the one she used to take photos of sunsets and our dog. This one was black, sleek, tucked inside her purse like a secret. I found it while looking for gum. It was locked. No wallpaper, no fingerprints. Just cold glass. She looked at me and said, "It's for work." They gave me a backup. But she didn't work in a job that handed out phones. And I knew, but I didn't push. Then came Derek, her brother, big smile, always a little too smooth. He'd slap my back hard when he hugged me like he was testing something. "Taking care of my sister, huh?" he'd say with that look that never reached his eyes. And Claire, Samantha's best friend since high school, she'd always hug me, politely, then wipe her hands like I was a mess to be cleaned off. Once after dinner, she stayed behind to help with dishes. She leaned in and said, "You know she could do better, right?" I just stared, didn't even respond. We saw a counselor once, Kevin. Neutral office, soothing colors, fake plants and real tension. I remember the moment he looked at me, and then looked at her. He said, "Samantha, you seem angry. Can we explore why?" She tilted her head, gave him the sweetest smile, and replied, "Because he's cold. He shuts me out. He tracks everything I do." He nodded slowly. "Is he abusive?" She paused, and I swear the room held its breath. "Not physically," she said, "but I don't feel safe emotionally." I clenched my jaw, but said nothing. It was like she was rehearsing a script. Then came the bruises. Faint, right where someone's fingers might land if they grabbed her too hard, but I never touched her. Not once, didn't matter, because she made sure others saw them. Once Carla, the neighbor, asked, "Everything okay?" I noticed Samantha's arm, and Samantha, in her softest voice, said, "Oh, it's nothing. I'm just clumsy sometimes." But her eyes dared me to say something, and then it began. At a barbecue with friends, she laughed when someone made a joke about men needing control. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "James doesn't like when I go out alone. He says it's dangerous." Everyone laughed awkwardly. She added, "It's cute, but he can be intense." The word hung there like smoke. I looked around, saw the way people's eyes shifted. They weren't laughing anymore. I started sleeping lighter after that. Checking the doors twice. Triple checking my own memory, because when someone starts writing a story where you're the villain, you better make damn sure you know the plot before they publish the ending. Some betrayals don't come with explosions. They unfold in whispers, rehearsed tears, and a silence so thick it presses against your chest. The night I saw her practice crying in the mirror was the night everything broke, not because I didn't expect it, but because I still wanted to be wrong. It was around 2:40 a.m. The kind of hour when the world feels fragile, like even the air is waiting for something bad to happen. I couldn't sleep. The bed was too cold, the silence too loud. She was in the guest room again, claimed I snored. I'd stopped arguing about things that didn't make sense a long time ago. So I got up, poured myself a glass of water, and checked the security feed. Habit, except this time. I clicked audio. I'd upgraded the system a few weeks earlier. New microphones, clearer resolution. I told myself it was for work. But deep down, I think I already knew I was building a case. The clip loaded. She was in our bedroom pacing, wearing that gray robe she always used when she wanted to look vulnerable. Her phone was to her ear. Then I heard it. "I'll say he grabbed me," she whispered. "Maybe threw something. I've been documenting stuff. Once it's official, I get the house. He's got nowhere else to go." I didn't move. She kept talking, soft, controlled, practiced, like she'd said it before. Then she paused, walked to the mirror, tilted her head, blinked a few times, and let her face collapse into what looked like heartbreak. She was practicing her tears, watched it twice, then a third time. My hands didn't shake, my breath didn't quicken. That part of me, the soldier, took over, strategic, cold, focused. But inside, a voice kept whispering, "This is your wife. The woman who kissed your knuckles when you came home from the hospital. The woman who once said, 'I feel safe with you.' The woman who now was planning to ruin your life." I leaned back in the chair, the room dim except for the blue glow of the monitor, and like a flood, the memories came. That time she picked a fight over laundry, then cried in the kitchen just as Claire and Derek showed up. How she whispered to Claire, "He just gets so controlling sometimes." The way her brother always asked, "So what's this place worth now?" With that slick grin like he wasn't really joking. It was never random. It was calculated. A campaign, not a crisis. I called someone the next morning, Detective Laura Bennett. We'd worked together once when her department was upgrading security systems after a string of home invasions. She trusted me. I trusted her. When she picked up, her voice was cautious. "James? It's been a while. Everything okay?" "Not really," I told her. "I need to ask something off the record." There was a pause, then a shift in her tone. "I'm listening." I didn't show her everything. Not yet, just enough to get a read. The next day, she called me back. "This doesn't look good, James. If she tries to report something, anything, they'll default to her side. You're military, male, big build. You know how this plays." "I do," I said quietly. "Start documenting everything," she added. "Timestamps, copies, backups, trust no one." That night I did just that. Every video, every audio clip, every date. Backed up on 2 hard drives, one of them locked away at the range where Mark worked. Then I made another call, to someone I hadn't spoken to in over 5 years. My sister, Maya. We'd drifted after our mother passed, a stupid fight, pride mostly. But when she picked up, her voice cracked before I even spoke. "James, are you okay?" I swallowed hard. "No, but I will be. I just need you." She didn't ask for an explanation, just said, "Tell me what to do." That's who Maya is, fierce, loyal, no questions, just action. I needed a lawyer, but not just any lawyer. I contacted Jordan Park, specialist in divorce defense, known for his calm demeanor and killer instincts in court. I scheduled a meeting under a fake name. When I showed up, I handed him a flash drive. He plugged it in, browsed the files, and whistled low. "James, this is a gold mine." "I don't want gold," I said. "I want the truth, and I want protection." "You've got both," he replied. "But you need to keep playing dumb. Let her believe she's still in control." That, I could do. And then 2 nights later I saw something that made the blood in my chest run cold. A new video. Same angle. Different visitor. A woman. Tina. I'd seen her before. At Samantha's yoga class. Maybe twice. I never paid attention. But now, she was in our bedroom, kissing my wife. My wife was laughing, not nervous, not guilty, just alive. They whispered like lovers. mocked me like strangers. Tina said, "He has no idea, does he?" Samantha grinned. "He's a soldier, not a thinker." And that was the last straw. I sat there in the dark, not angry, not even heartbroken, just clear. This wasn't love. This wasn't betrayal. This was warfare, and I'd survived worse. I just had to treat it like a mission, one objective, one target, no room for mistakes. So I made a new file folder on my desktop and named it Op Clean Exit, because if she wanted to play a role, I'd give her a stage. Some people fight back with rage. I fight back with receipts. No yelling, no chaos, just proof. Cold, clear, undeniable truth. The night after I saw her with Tina, I didn't sleep. Not from anger, not even from grief. I just laid there, planning. Every mission starts the same. Intel. So that's where I began. I placed 2 new cameras, one in the hallway vent, one behind the bookshelf in the living room. Then I installed keystroke tracking software on our shared laptop. She didn't notice. She was too busy working late, leaving her purse wide open on the counter, texting someone named Tina G and smiling like she'd won a lottery. I printed transcripts, cataloged every file, backed them up on 3 drives, one in my closet, one at Mark's place, one mailed to a P.O. box I opened under an alias. I created decoy files too, a folder on my desktop labeled Court Defense Confidential. Inside, fake letters, fake timelines, deliberately flawed records. A few days later, I noticed the A file had been accessed. She'd taken the bait. That's when I knew. She wasn't just lying. She was hunting. I called Mark. He picked up on the first ring. "I need your help," I said. "Nothing illegal. Just smart." There was a pause, then that familiar chuckle. "You always were the planner. Count me in." Mark ran background checks for private firms now. Quiet work, lots of access. Within a day, he sent me screenshots. Samantha had signed a lease with someone named Tina Gomez. Downtown apartment, 2 bedrooms, started 6 weeks ago. She wasn't just planning to leave. She was planning to destroy me and move in with her girlfriend while pretending to be a victim. I needed more. And I knew just who to call. Sophie. We went to basic training together. Later, she pivoted to cybersecurity. We hadn't talked in years, but when I messaged her, she replied, "If this is about getting back at a cheating sociopath, I'm in." She came over that weekend, boots on, hair in a bun, laptop already in hand. I handed her Samantha's old MacBook. "Think there's anything left?" I asked. She smiled. "There's always something left." 3 hours later, she had it. Hundreds of deleted messages, text chains with Tina, with Derek, even Claire. The worst one? A group chat named Free Life Begins. Claire had texted, "Just cry in front of the cop. That always works." Derek replied, "If the judge sees him as unstable, you've got the house. Easy." Samantha? She responded with a heart emoji. I forwarded everything to Jordan. He didn't say much. Just emailed me a strategy doc titled Total Evidence Dominance. Step 1, stay calm. Step 2, file first. Step 3, let her walk into her own trap. Meanwhile, I paid a quiet visit to Mr. Patel, landlord of the apartment she leased with Tina. He was cautious at first, but when I showed him my ID and said, "I believe someone committed fraud on your lease agreement," he raised an eyebrow. "Come in," he said. Turns out, Samantha had listed me as her emergency contact, signed with her maiden name, claimed she was single. Mr. Patel agreed to email me the lease video logs and entry timestamps, even offered to testify. "People like her," he said, "think they're smarter than the system." She wasn't just building a story, she was staging. And so I set my stage too. I contacted Logan, freelance journalist I'd helped once during a robbery investigation. He owed me. I gave him an anonymous tip. With evidence, dates, screenshots. His article went live 2 days before the court hearing. Title: False Victimhood, a Growing Weapon in Family Court. Samantha didn't know I was behind it, but her expression at the breakfast table said everything. She looked pale, jaw clenched. "Some people really have no morals," she muttered. I sipped my coffee, didn't say a word. Then came the day she filed the restraining order. I wasn't surprised. She said I'd grabbed her during an argument, said I'd thrown a glass, no police report, no photos, no injuries, just her word and tears. And she played the role perfectly. Trembling voice, dabbing at the corners of her eyes. The Judge Holloway looked down at her, stern, quiet, unimpressed. Then he turned to me. "Mr. Jensen, do you have a response?" I nodded once. Jordan stood. "We do, Your Honor. With the court's permission, we'd like to submit video and audio evidence collected legally from the defendant's own home." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Proceed." The screen played. Her voice echoed through the courtroom. "He's worthless garbage. I'm going to say he hit me. Then I'll get the house and everything." Then the clip of her in the mirror practicing her tears. Then the group chat messages. Silence fell over the room. Samantha's face went slack. She didn't even try to deny it. Judge Holloway cleared his throat. "Well," he said, "that changes everything. The restraining order was denied, the divorce hearing delayed, and Samantha was ordered to submit all digital records for discovery. Claire and Derek's names were flagged. Tina was subpoenaed. It was like watching a house of cards collapse in slow motion. One smug smile at a time. Gone. Then came my final move. Jordan filed for defamation, emotional distress, and malicious prosecution. We had receipts for all of it, but more than that, I gave Logan a green light to go public. This time, with names. Samantha's photo hit the local news that evening. Underneath it, security consultant uncovers wife's elaborate false abuse scheme. She called me, first time in weeks. Her voice was small. I didn't think you'd actually fight back," she said. I exhaled, then told her, "You mistook my silence for surrender. That was your first mistake." And then I hung up. It's been 4 months now. The divorce is still in process, but the tide is mine. People ask me if I'm okay. If I'm bitter, I tell them I'm better. Because justice doesn't have to shout. Sometimes it just watches, waits, and strikes when the story is already written. There's a silence that doesn't ache anymore. It doesn't feel empty. It feels earned. That's what it felt like when I saw her for the last time. The courthouse hallway was cold, not in temperature, but in energy. Everything echoed, shoes on tile, rustling papers, shallow breaths. She walked in late, her hair perfect, makeup soft, subtle, strategic. The kind meant to say, "I'm delicate. I've been hurt." But I wasn't looking at her makeup, I was looking at her eyes, and for the first time, they looked small. She approached like we were old friends, like months of war hadn't passed between us. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she whispered, voice cracking like she hoped I'd notice. I was scared, confused. I said nothing, just let the weight of the moment stretch. Then I looked her in the eyes and said, "I used to love you so much. I wish you'd just buried me instead. That would have hurt less." She blinked. No words, just silence. Inside the courtroom, she tried again. When the judge asked her to explain the fabricated accusations, she shook her head slowly, voice trembling. I didn't lie. I was scared of what he might do. The room didn't believe. Her Jordan stood up, calm as ever, and laid out the final stack of evidence emails, recordings, the affair, even a voice message where she laughed about manipulating the narrative. She slouched in her chair, not out of shame, out of defeat. Judge Holloway's voice was steady, firm. "This court finds that the defendant acted in bad faith with Intent to defame and deceive. The request for a restraining order is denied. Full ownership of the property will be awarded to Mr. Jensen. The court also recognizes the emotional and reputational harm done. Then he paused. And the defendant will issue a formal public apology to Mr. Jensen in under oath. Outside, reporters waited. She ducked her head. No comments. No allies. Claire stopped returning her calls. Derek claimed he had no idea. Tina ghosted her entirely. The apartment lease? Canceled. Her job? Let her go. Quietly. Her smile? Gone. I didn't smile either. This wasn't celebration. This was closure. Mark texted me later. You won. But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving. As I walked out of that courthouse, people glanced my way. Some with sympathy, some with curiosity. But I kept walking. Didn't speak. Didn't stop. Didn't look back because in the end, she played victim until the truth played her. And I didn't need revenge, I just needed the truth to breathe. Healing didn't happen overnight, not after court, not after truth won. It came slowly. In pieces. Not from her betrayal. But from the years I stayed quiet. I started walking again. Mornings, no music, just breath and pavement, letting the silence speak back to me. But softer this time. Maya and I talk more now. She sends me terrible memes and asks how my heart is doing. Not the legal stuff, not the wounds, just my heart. And you know what? I don't rush anything anymore. Not trust. Not forgiveness. Especially not love. But I'm not closed off. Just careful. And that's okay. Someone once called me garbage. Said I was worthless, easy to throw away. But here's the truth. Trash only stinks when it's rotting. I wasn't rotten. I was buried. Now, I've been recycled, stronger, sharper, clean, because silence isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the sound of a mind sharpening its sword.